Okay, folks, here we go. Got some interesting new blades in Blade Land here. This old sword with you once again. And this one comes from Reate knives. I should say these come from Reate knives. Something very unusual for Reate. First of all, it is their third, I believe, Exo knife from Exoskeleton Knives. And I'll leave you a link to him. He's a very innovative Chinese designer who's been working closely with Reate from the original EXO gravity opening knife without a lock to the newer M series, M like Mary, with the lock and with a pocket clip. So here we have both a lock and a pocket clip. So these knives have benefited from the development of the previous two iterations, and I'm hoping we do see a full size, like 3¾ to 4" exoskeleton knife with the lock and the clip before too long. Now, this is a nice little set. The second thing that's unique for Reate is that these are not from premium materials. This is N690 on the live blade. And I'm not sure what they used, maybe even N690 on the trainer blade. Let's start with the live blade. And we're going to do the full out opening a little later, but I want to show you what you get. You get an aluminum handle with the aluminum ring. It's nicely offset. So if you wanted to chance using this as an impact or persuader, you definitely could. That ring is pretty hard aluminum, anodized, no doubt, with the finish on it. It's locked in place, can't open it. There is a button right there. So we have a button lock knife that's a whole different animal than your usual button locks, and a whole different animal in the way that the knife opens. We have, in essence, two pivots. One pivot there and a second pivot there. Both have mild detents. So it sort of stays open. It doesn't swing completely free, but it doesn't take much to move the blade. Once it's open like this, you swing it down, it locks into place and can't be opened. And you have, let me back out a little, and you have a very nice karambit, kind of a blend between Filipino style karambit and Indonesian style. So the way that they've clipped the point near the end, we actually have a point directly forward, Indonesian style. But as I show you later, the true Indonesian style karambits tend to curve the whole blade 90 degrees because it's used in the eyes and the eye sockets. Yeah, nasty stuff. I don't personally flip balisongs, and I don't have a lot of space here on the table, but I don't personally flip them around to use them. I use the ring to extract the knife from the pocket and for the main grip. Now there's the clip. The clip, strangely enough, came mounted to this side. Now that means it would go in the left-hand pocket if I wanted this orientation. Otherwise, it would be backwards from the way I'd want to open it in a point down traditional setup. This knife, however, can also be used in the point up, edge forward. You can put your finger through the ring, the pinky through the ring, and you got an interesting, nice little divot there for your thumb with a platform. So very nice. So this is the N690 one. Put that over there. Here's the trainer. Now the trainer has a handle, and this was kind of nice. I just like the presentation because, you know, it reminds me of like a set of dueling pistols. Did you get that impression when you first saw it? You know what I mean, if you've had a set or you've seen a set. So the trainer is nice, and when have I ever seen two knives just come together unless you're paying extra to get the trainer, right? So the trainer automatically comes with the knife. This is FRN, solid FRN through and through. Not sure what the steel is, could be 440, just something basic. There's the button. You can see that plunge lock. So again, I flip it out with a little bit of force. If I let it spin on the finger with a little bit of force, I'm more guaranteed of that arm, if you want to call it that, straightening fully out. See? And in order to demo it, it's already fallen off my finger. Probably put a ding in the blade. That's usually what happens. Anyway, you swing it back like that, it locks in place. And I had it backwards that time. You swing it out like this in order to close it, then you place your thumb here and the blade closes, and then you can fold it all up. Back into one package again, which will not open unless you push the button. And that's how it should come out, and that's how it should come back. So it's a matter of, and you can see Mr. Exoskeleton himself there on his website and on Instagram, showing you many, many different ways to open this knife, the same way he did for the original EXO exoskeleton knife from Reate. Well, I'm going to put the trainer aside for the time being. Take a look at the live blade. Since they're both really the same thing, same dimensions, same operation. One has a hardened steel N690 blade, not sure of the HRC on it. If that concerns you, I think it's probably in the Reate specs that either come with a knife or out on the Reate site or anywhere that's selling them. These came from White Mountain. I jumped on it. I was notified. I was had my email out there with them, so I was notified when they became available. Bang, I had them ordered within like 5 minutes. So that's the way you got to do it. An hour later, they were all gone. And there are multiple colors. So I got the black with the stone-washed natural blade. Come through pretty sharp, pretty sharp. They wheel cut, as Doug says. That's the business end that you're concerned with. And it'll cut there too. As with any new knife, I recommend honing when you first get it. A little bit of stropping in most cases. All right. So, always strange trying to measure karambits. If we must, we're talking like 6 3/4 inches in that direction. We're talking 3 inches for the cutting edge. And millimeters, pretty good blade stock, 3.8 millimeters. And come on, 0.15 inches blade thickness, handle thickness exactly 1/2 inch. So you got a pretty good slim handle, and yet you can hold on to it pretty well. We'll weigh it up. Question is going to be, is the, let's pull this guy up. Is the trainer going to be a different weight? And probably it will be. So this is 4.54 ounces. And the trainer is 3.77 ounces. So yes, the trainer is lighter. If that bothers you, I'm afraid that's the way it is, because they perforated the blade on the trainer, as is often done, to distinguish it from the live blade. So a little lighter on the trainer. That may mean that the blade, when it swings out, is a little less heavy and maybe has a little less momentum. Something to take into consideration. I would start off with the trainer, get used to it, and then gravitate to the live blade. If you start nicking yourself up with the live blade, go back to the trainer until you got it down. One thing that was mentioned in someone else's review is that if it comes out and opens partially and somehow you get this to come back like this, oh yes, you can poke yourself. That has not happened to me yet. Reason being that either it opens this far or it opens all the way, and then I cannot get this to fold with the momentum on the way back. I'm always getting, whoop, except that time. Well, if it goes that far, it's going to close, right? And so you're safe. And really what I should be doing, see, is this. That is the way to ensure that that blade comes fully open and then swings all the way back. There is a knack to it, hence there is a trainer. Not much different in concept from a balisong. You have to practice with a balisong to keep yourself from getting cut. We dulled down knives. We'd buy cheap balisong knives back in the 80s, take the edge off and grind the tip off, and we practiced with those until they started actually coming out with trainers. So, bit of a comparison here. There is the EXO-K. Here's an oldie but goodie. This is the Spyderco. And what do they call this Spyderco? It's out of BG10. That is their Karambit. That is the Karahawk. Karahawk, a name you could possibly forget. Here is the classic 511 Journeyman designed by Steve Tirani. And here is the perfect example of an Indonesian style karambit, at least as it has been explained to me. Notice that holding it this way, it's like a big horseshoe and the point goes directly forward. In hand, the point goes directly forward because it is used for jabbing as well as tearing. In this position, you also have tremendous point forward jabbing and ripping capability with this knife, and it is a lockback, as is the Karahawk. Karahawk's got a built-in wave feature. It was actually licensed from Ernest Emerson. There is the patent number right there. Finally, we have a real interesting karambit that I highly recommend from Brous, B-R-O-U-S. This is a budgety, like $50 or so, maybe less, karambit that is built excellently well. It is again in the Indonesian style with a point forward. It is a budgety version of a more expensive one that Brous produced stateside. This one is either Taiwanese or Chinese manufacturer. Really cool karambit that has this comb on the top, and that is the pocket opening feature. So these sharpish little guys do catch on your pocket and open it up. It is more awkward to use the thumb, but you can do it to front flip it open. That is the Brous Enforcer. So you can see all of these kind of side by side, top to bottom. See if we can fit them all in there. Sort of, maybe. There we go. Because a couple of these are hooked so much, kind of hard to get them all in there. I'll get them in this way though. There we go. There you go. Lots of hooked blades there. Last comparison we'll do, or last couple of comparisons, is not against karambits. Because a lot of people are turned off by karambits because they're putting rings on so many things. But, you know, rings on some of the hunters, I'm told, that we see with the straight blades actually are useful on the pinky. Not so much for combat, but for hanging onto the knife when you're skinning and using it outdoors. So somebody pointed that out to me, and I thank them very much for saying that there is a practical use for rings. Here is the original EXO with its Kydex sheath without a safety. and without a pocket clip. And it's a beautiful knife made from premium materials. This was from Elmax. This is the drop point with the swedge. Beautiful, beautiful knife, like 3 3/4 inch blade. I like it because it's a larger blade. The M series I shied away from, even though it's got the lock and the pocket clip, and they took care of a lot of the gripes that people had about this one. This is still nice, and this can still be used. Again, I don't have a lot of space. See, I can open it up, but I have to go off camera in order to do it. So trying to stay within this little rectangle here and show you everything is sometimes difficult. Titanium frame, nice micarta, green canvas micarta on this one. And the knife locks up and can be used very well, so long as it stays in the hand. Once you loosen the grip or drop it, that blade can go back in and you could have some problems. But, you know, I think it's kind of like a balisong. You flip it open, you hold the handles, and it's a knife. They've got a latch on theirs, but anyway, these were coming in, I think, I can't even remember the price on these. I think they might have been a couple hundred. So definitely pricier knife than the EXO-K. So they did some cool things with this. I think you can definitely get used to using it once you practice. And again, I strongly recommend practicing with the trainer. You can really get this down so that your opening and closing procedures are just no problem. Okay, very quick. And it is very solid in the hand. The way that, I mean, you've almost got like a middle finger space there, the way the blade goes, starts curving there. And, you know, I think you potentially could use this first knuckle. Now, a lot of chit chat lately from people from the Calderon side of things with regards to rings and knives, and even some people that like karambits are starting not to like karambits because of that influence. But, you know, you decide. I think Bastian Cove actually put out a video on rings on knives and gave his take on it. So basically, he said it's up to you. It's your choice. If you're not comfortable with a ring, don't use one. I would think personally, and no one's ever tried to wrestle a karambit out of my hand, but with that grip, and provided I'm not passing it from hand to hand, I would tend not to do that. Some people apparently are very good at passing a knife from hand to hand. I like to keep it in one hand. I don't flip them. I hold it in the hand and use it. Pretty much that's it. Okay, I won't get so much into ring knife or karambit philosophy right now, but let's do a parting shot with them both out there. There you have the Exoskeleton and Reate collaboration, the EXO-K. Definitely check them out for like about $168 for the pair, I think, with a 10% discount from this old sword, or I should say old sword as the discount code, when they're back in stock, and they likely will be eventually back in stock at White Mountain. Definitely pick a pair up. You get a pair. All right. Don't forget to give this vid a like and subscribe. I'll be back with you real soon. Take care.